Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another video. New year, new podcast episode. Oh my God, y'all. I almost feel like I'm missing something because I feel like I should have something in my hands, but she's officially wireless now. She did get that mic she wanted for Christmas, along with this rubber band again. And y'all about to see it a lot because it's winter and it's cute and it gives, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I opened the new year with a story time, silly little unlocked memory, but today we are back with the podcast episodes. I speak a lot about my personal experience because like I said, that's what I have to give and that's the real shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, but I feel like it's like a lot of thoughts and relations, which this one is too, but I kind of wanted to make a video talking about basically some signs that were prominent as me, an abuse survivor, when I was in an abusive relationship, because sometimes when I get in my anxiety and my flashbacks, I tend to look for content again that's very comforting when it comes from other people who are like me or have experienced something like me. But also sometimes I just be looking like, sometimes I'm like, where's like the signs laid out? Like I like a mix of like personal with structure, and I kind of wanted to make that. I want to state before I start this video, in no way, shape, or form am I, when I'm talking about signs of abuse that I personally experienced as a young girl in an abusive relationship, a survivor, I'm not in any way saying that these were the signs, you should have looked for them. We don't do that around here. How about things and abuse and bad things don't happen to people? That's the whole person's responsibility who did that, not mine. But as we grow older, this year, I'm going to be 3 months free from my abusive relationship. I'm reflecting, I'm still healing and remembering, recovering things that I didn't know was there. And yeah, I guess I just feel like this would be some good talking points for anyone, but especially my ladies, to, have your discernment on and do your thing. Protect yourself as best as you can. Because like I said, you're not responsible for other people's actions. I'm just going to get right into it. I literally made some notes on the toilet earlier, so let's go. So I feel like when I reflect on the 19, 20-year-old girl I was when I was for context, in an abusive relationship, sexually and emotionally, and my first time experiencing abuse ever. I didn't experience abuse in my home growing up, nothing like that. I look at parts because everyone thinks that like you just meet psychotic people who show you who they are, and there's so much victim blaming, but I personally remember starting to experience abuse months into the relationship. It wasn't like that at first, but sometimes there is signs of how people are. Like I said, not of what they're going to do, but one of the first things I thought about was jealousy. And jealousy is a word that gets thrown around a lot in relationships. But I'm here to break it down. I'm not just talking about typical jealousy that everybody experiences in their relationships, opposite gender friends, maybe people from the past, pictures, social media, all valid things depending on your boundaries. I'm talking about jealousy that is completely absurd and makes no sense. So, a lot of times I feel like when you're in young relationships, like you guys date each other, you like each other, you're attracted to each other. Oh my God, there's so much chemistry. And you all of a sudden just think like they're the one because all those things. But then slowly but surely people start showing you who they are. Like when I say jealousy, how I said that's a broad statement, an emotion that everybody is valid to feel. But I'm talking about a different type is, as I reflect, if you're not new, holiday seasons are kind of passing and I'm in a good mental space now, but holiday seasons are very reflective and kind of hard for me because this is like specific memories that I remember experiencing assault and abuse. And something I like uncovered, because there's just so much sometimes when things come back to you, is like, I remember probably the first couple months dating this guy. I was having a sleepover at his house. I always did. He lived with his grandparents. We were 19 when we first started dating. And like, I remember eating downstairs, him going up to his room like before me because he wanted to get started on homework or something. I stayed back to like finish eating, right? He was in a rush. He wanted to start. Again, nothing calling me, nothing in a rush for me, right? So I finished eating and I was very compatible with his family off the bat. His grandparents were very nice people who loved me, who were very welcoming and all of the sorts. Like I said, those were the people he lived with. But he also had a lot of other family over there a lot. So I remember I'm downstairs eating and I finished eating and y'all know grandparents, they like to talk. Okay. Old black people, they like to anybody. But like I said, like I already did have a good relationship with his grandma. So I remember she starts talking to me. To this day, I could not think of what we were talking about. We've had a bunch of conversations. I remember we were talking about something. It's basically one of those conversations where like, by this time I'm done eating, I'm ready to head up. But like, she just keeps talking. Like, you know, when you give responses, then they keep, and it just keeps going. I don't know how much longer I was downstairs than him. I want to say 20 minutes at most. Also, he had a cousin over who joined the conversation, and y'all know when, again, you're up, you're washing your plate, you're still talking, you're moving towards the stairs, you're leaning on the stairs and still talking. It was like gradually that, and it was like mainly me and his grandma talking, but his cousin jumping in on the conversation with his grandma because it was something who sparked his interest, right? So I remember when I'm done, like it was long. I mean, not that long, but kind of long when you're like excited to hang out with someone. I go up to his room when finally they stop talking to me. And I come up, I'm all happy. I'm like, hey, you know, it's like the new part of the relationship. And I go to like hug him and stuff. And he's very like, like, what do you call it? Cold shoulder. And I'm like, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, he's on the computer doing his homework. He's like, nothing. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's wrong? So at first he's like, nothing, leave me alone. And then he's like, why are you up here anyways? Like, you'd rather just go talk to my cousin and my grandma, right? So I'm like, what? Like, you came up before me because you finished eating. I was finishing eating. She started talking to me. And they just all started talking for super long. Like, do you want me to tell them to shut up and just walk up the door? Like, walk up the stairs? I was like, what? Like, and this is the first time I'm experiencing something like this. So I'm fully think he's joking. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, trying to hug him stuff. He's still like, I'm like, so you're mad because your grandma started talking to me? And I was letting her talk and being respectful because I'm in her house and she's your grandma. Yeah, you're mad because I took too long. He was like, yeah, like, it just seems like you'd probably rather spend some time with them instead of me. I laugh, y'all. I have to laugh through the pain. Like, again, being post-abuse and just having random memories where like, oh shit, like, that really happened. Like, I just remember, like, it probably took this man half an hour to stop being mad at me because he was jealous and thinking that I'd rather hang out with his family than him because I was being respectful and they caught me and started talking to me when I was eating. And mind you, this is the first day of the sleepover, so it's not like we're on a time crunch. We only have a little bit of time together. It's like daylight still out and the sleepover hasn't even started. I was flabbergasted. Like, I feel like I was just so flabbergasted. I tried to laugh it off as like if he were joking, but y'all, he was dead serious. Okay. I feel like as much as I make these videos because I like it and also like I low-key want to know because one thing that I love about especially using my platform to speak on these experiences is like, has anyone else like, when you're in an abusive relationship, they try so hard to make you feel so small and like no one's experiences, no one acts like you, no one thinks this is weird. Like, it was the most isolating time of my entire life that I took like, I feel like 2 years to get back in a good mental health state. Where it's just crazy how you get on the internet and I know there's a comment, or even if someone doesn't comment, someone has experienced something like this. Like, it sounds crazy, but yeah, like, I just feel like jealousy, like I said, not in the way of an emotion that we all feel and can relate to, but that you're jealous of your grandma talking to me while you went upstairs early to do homework. That's not normal. Like, that's not normal. Like, I feel like that's really early signs of like possession, of like, that's what made you angry and what made you shun me. Like, some psychologists break that down right now, because that's all I got. Now, insecurity is another word that I think gets tossed around when it comes to relationships all the time. She's so insecure. He's so insecure. That's why it didn't work. I can't deal with people like that. Again, insecurity is a human feeling that we have all experienced before, whether it is because of what someone told us, because of how we look, our own opinions, people's past. Like, again, normal. See, this is what I'm saying. When I say signs of like abuse, where I look back at my younger self, it's like, I think almost all these things I'm naming are normal human emotions, but it's the way that people project / communicate them is what makes them like, like what? So insecurity, again, normal thing to have. I noticed it wasn't just an insecurity with this person before I actually experienced abuse with them. It was like this fear of feeling inferior to me. Like, okay, dated someone who told me that they were insecure about their looks, and sometimes it still comes back to them. Sometimes they archive everything so they're not seen on their page, and then they put it back up when they feel better, right? Like, valid, it's your social media. But then I started to notice that I'm like, oh, so it's not an insecurity that it's a constant feeling that someone just feels. It's something that they feel and have to project, and like it literally controls their life decisions, right? Like, there's things I'm insecure about. I wouldn't let it stop me. Like, when I first graduated high school, like my first year in college, I was super insecure in my first relationship, right? That was a number of reasons, but personally, when it came to myself, it's because I had really bad acne that I just seemed I couldn't, like, I wasn't a teenager who got acne, really. So it's like, when I was like, wait, I'm supposed to be young turn in college, why is this happening now? I just felt, right? And so sometimes that still gets to me, like my scars, or when I have breakouts. At the beginning of December, y'all, I was having not bad, but I was having a breakout more than what my skin normally looks like. And I swear I was like feeling some feelings, and sometimes those feelings come back up. But I'm like, I still recorded and posted every single day. Like, I'm not going to let that stop me from making videos and all that, because I'm still pretty and I still have a lot to say, and like, it doesn't matter. Like, a lot of times you're looking at it more than other people are looking at it, right? So there's that. When I share details of my abusive relationship with the internet and with people I know in real life, they be saying these stories don't sound real. And I promise you, this one isn't gonna sound real either. So one thing, again, of like the insecurity, this like fear of being like inferior to me, and like the whole dynamic, which I feel like is what I feel like this is definitely like a sign of an abuser, because again, it kind of shows that like wanting to be like that dynamic. So I remember another thing, a couple months into dating, didn't know he was for real at first. This is another thing that I've seen psychologists say before, that is definitely a sign of like a no-no in a relationship too, is people who always ruin your time apart with them. Like, this man would constantly ruin my day, say things to trigger me, just say or make issues about himself, about me, like when I'm out with my friends or I'm doing something without him, constantly did that. This is one of the first examples, right? So I remember he texts me and he's like, yeah, I was telling my family like about my new girlfriend and stuff. And he was like, my stepsister said something that hurt my feelings. And I was like, what did she say? He had a stepsister who was younger than him. We're 19, she's probably like 16, 15. And also, I don't know if this adds to the context of the story, but okay, so I remember he tells me that like he was showing her a picture of me, and you know, like typical little girl, little sister thing. She was like, dang, like she's really pretty. She's definitely out of your league. Right? And he also mentioned before that like his stepsister was queer. She was gay. So I'm like, I don't know if it was just in a typical girl sense of like she's out of your league, or if it was like a joke like her saying that she found me attractive too. I don't know what it was. But he was literally like, yeah, she said that. And like again, how I'm saying it, I wasn't there in the sense of how she said it. I can only imagine what teenage girl, I mean, I'm a girl, what a teenage girl would sound like. But most of the time when people say stuff like that, it's like a joke, like it's a typical saying. Why was this man following up by like, yeah, she said that and it really hurt my feelings and it's really making me overthink that like if a lot of other people think like that and they're gonna like think I'm ugly, so maybe we just shouldn't date. Y'all again. I have to laugh a little bit through the trauma. Y'all, he was dead serious. He was like, she thinks that, and I feel like other people are gonna think that, like I'm ugly and I'm too ugly to be with you. So like maybe we shouldn't date, cause like she's right, and a bunch of other people feel the same way. I'm like, are you joking? Like it's a joke. Like he was like, no, but she sounded serious. And like in that sense, that is when I tightened up. I had to tighten up with this man a little bit. I was like, I literally thought he was joking. I was like, don't play like that unless you actually don't want to be with me. Because again, I'm like thinking it's unserious, but he's for real. And then he was just like, okay. And he changed the subject. Guys. Trauma. Again, I was 19 back then. I'm 23 now. That way of thinking, and at that, I feel like men making jokes about being in competition with you is a no-no already. But the fact that that man was serious, like that, I feel like that is so scary. Like we talk about this a lot, I feel like on social media, like friends, I don't want anyone who's in competition with me. I've touched on it before, but I'm like literally, when I was in my abusive relationship, that man was literally in competition with me. Like literally comparing us. And like when I did have success stories, I have a story time about how I booked my first modeling job that I hadn't booked in a while. And yeah, that man made that day terrible and made it all about him and was not happy for me. Like it is just so like friends, family, whatever, you cannot afford to have people around you who are on that type of thing. If it's not like a regular man, if their little stepsister would have said that, would have been like, yeah, like that's all me, boom, like would have been like, yeah, like I really got, but instead he's worried about how other people receive me and how other people would think I'm more attractive than him. That right there is just like, last one that I really want to emphasize to everyone, but especially young girls, just it's hard out here, right? No matter who you are, but especially my young girls or girls, whether you're older or younger than me, it's just like, I feel like characteristics about people, like, you know, when you're younger, first of all, like, I feel like you might not have your own opinions super yet, or maybe you do, but I feel like you let a lot of things slide the less experience you have. I don't know, it depends. Like, it depends, like I said. I was 19 years old when I started this abusive relationship. There's still things I've never played about. Like at 19, I wasn't playing about a boy saying something homophobic, saying something colorist, like, you know. But when I look back at my abuser and who I dated and like some of these words and phrases that I like let slide, I'm like, oh, he was so misogynistic. Like he was so misogynistic. And I feel like for girls, we tend to look over it a lot. And I think it's because of the society we are in excuses it a lot. Like, you know, we're born and bred in a society that just like all these things, is inherently homophobic, is inherently misogynistic. But even as girls, that misogyny be hitting your hard, it be hitting your hard. I have a whole video about it, about how being misogynistic won't save you from it. And trust me, I was never on that, but I'm just thinking about, like, when I really look back, I'm like, there's some stuff where I'm like, oh, I would not play today. Like, baby, your future husband is not someone that you have to yell at and teach, like I said, that you have to babysit about basic courtesy and respect for women and stuff like that. Now, I'm a girl who feels like if your boundaries aren't hurting anyone, you have the preference to date or reject anyone that you don't like, right? As long as we're not going back to the tropes of colorism, stereotypes, stuff like that. So you've heard a lot of people say before, I wouldn't want to date someone who has kids. Completely your choice. If you don't want to deal with that, that's a package deal. That's a lot. That's fine. That is different than shitting on people who have children, are like, ugh, can never be me. They put themselves in that situation, blah, blah, blah. That is how my abuser was. I remember one time getting in an argument. He thought it was funny and I was dead serious. This is what I'm saying. It's not a match. Like, it's not a match. A conversation of a comment he made about single moms. Like, first of all, mind you, you guys know Janae Aiko. Y'all know Janae Aiko. Like, I feel like she hasn't put out music in a while, but y'all, that's my girl. I was supposed to see her, and then COVID hit, and I never seen her. But anyway, I'm a big fan, was a big fan, still was a big fan. And I remember, like, he made a comment when he had her second baby and was like, that's really crazy. Like, Big Sean would have a baby, like, with someone who already has a baby, like, single mom. First of all, nigga, Janae Aiko would never fucking date you. You would never have the chance. But it was just like unpromised. It's not like it was it was just like this. You really got to watch out for people who just spew stuff like that unwarranted. I'm like, why are you talking about her? Obviously, he doesn't care. Why do you care? And again, this isn't me just like defending a celebrity down. This is me literally just defending women. Like, why do you care? They look happy. Having a kid is a gift, whatever. And mind you, this man came from a long line of single mothers. His mother was a single mother. His grandma was a single mother. And his grandma was a single mother for years before she got with his grandpa, who's basically like his dad, who has been around since he was born. So I literally said that. I'm like, so you don't think your mom deserves love? You don't think your grandma deserves your grandpa? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, that's them and stuff, but like, just could never be me. Like, ew, 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 ew. Like I said again, preferences, if you don't want that, cool. But people who just openly spew and you're never in that position, I hope he's a single dad one day. Yeah, and your kid is gonna hate you. Hopefully a daughter. Actually, no. You don't even deserve a daughter, but you don't even deserve kids. That man, but it would, like, what? I just feel like, again, we're not responsible for other people, especially men's bad behavior, but I feel like we just got to take a lot of stuff at face value. Like I said, I just feel like the older you get, the more discernment, even when you're younger and you know things don't feel right. When it don't feel right, baby, he's got to go. Because there's like so many things I could think of in my last relationships where I'm like, ew. Imagine if he ended up being my husband, and I would always have that in the back of my mind. Like, remember when he said and did this? Like, my future husband would never. Like, what? Like, I feel like, again, like, as women in the misogynistic ass world, we're taught to have like this scarcity mindset of like, oh, every man has a little something. Every man has a little, so you just gotta, we don't have to do shit. Actually, I don't have to do a damn thing. Because if someone like me exists, who is very protective of my community and my intersectionality and other people, and I don't play, and I've unlearned those things by now that are ingrained to us in society, then there's someone else out there like that. Okay? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Do not settle. And I don't know, guys, these are just some things that I wanted to share being in a good headspace and just having learned a lot, had a reflective but overall positive holiday season. Because it's the new year, y'all. I've almost been single again I was single for almost 2 years after I was in abuse, and now I'm almost about to hit a year single for my last relationship in February. And I cannot explain the peace that I feel that I've expressed in other videos before too. Like, it's just so much better to be safe than sorry. Like, y'all, I just feel like the stuff I've accomplished and the progress I've made and just like the peace I feel. Because like I said, y'all, for 2 years from 20 all through 21, like 22 was finally, I just turned 23, by the way. So 23 just started. 22 was the year in my adulthood where I finally felt okay again. From 20 to 21 was such a pivotal year. Like, you can do so many things. I was anxious. I didn't want to be alive. Like, all these things because of the abuse that I suffered and the not feeling connected to my body and feeling all these things that my abuser planted in my head. It's just so important, I feel like, to share this information because, again, we're not responsible for men's actions. Abuse happens because the abuser decides to do it, not because you ignored red flags, because we don't control other people. Like I said, that's another misogynistic ass teaching. Well, what were you wearing, or what did you do to do this? Why did they do it? That's the question. That's the question. But the more I fall into more peace and healing with my journey and even learn more, because like I said, like my body's still remembering certain things that I'm like, oh, I shoved that down there. Because sexual assault is really, really traumatizing. It's the most traumatizing thing I've ever experienced. And it's extremely sad that it came from someone who's supposed to love and respect me. So I just feel like information and like knowing that someone else can relate and all that is very, very important. And I'm sorry if my transitions were wonky or I'm just kind of bouncing, but I just feel like I wanted to make a video like this, and I'm very, very proud of myself. I'm almost 2 years into my YouTube journey in a couple days, and I started my YouTube channel when I was 21, when I was depressed, having anxiety all night, barely sleeping in the day, staying in my room, just wanting to sleep and not wake up. Like, that is when I started the channel. And like at the start of this channel, I would have never been willing to give this information out or to even want to. That was a time where I was looking for like-minded content. I found a lot, and that's what really helped. So I hope I said something helpful. You guys learned something. You guys trust your discernment. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening / watching another podcast episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Many more videos coming. Year 2 with a bang. Thank you guys for subscribing and just like watching me. Like, what? Y'all like to hear me talk? As always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.